What's going on, 3DMJers? Eric Helms here, and I'm here to talk to you about nutrition and tracking. Tracking macronutrients as a health and fitness method has made quite a dent in the community over the last decade. If you're a bodybuilder or someone who wants to build muscle or mold their physique, you've probably either heard of or perhaps experimented with macro tracking. It's insanely popular, but there hasn't been much spoken about its pitfalls. Simply tracking macros for body recomposition doesn't guarantee flexibility. In some cases, it can halt your progress, or more importantly, harm your relationship with food, your body, or ultimately erode your quality of life. As an overview, IIFYM, or If It Fits Your Macros, was a response to rigid meal plans and clean eating approaches, which greatly limit nutritional flexibility. In research, these black and white views of food and diets are associated with worse outcomes when compared to flexible approaches. While IIFYM was intended to make dieting more flexible, it itself can become rigid. Whether you're ignoring your hunger and satiety cues and hitting macros down to the gram, or never eating out unless you have a food scale, a rigid approach to If It Fits Your Macros, in combination with how you interact with your favorite macro tracker, may be enabling disordered eating. However, there's value in structure when eating to build your physique. The sweet spot is what's identified in the research as flexible restraint, providing enough structure to reach your goals without becoming neurotic. If you spent years obsessively tracking like I did, you might feel like you have no reason to change. Or maybe you do want to change how you track, but you simply don't know how because you've been rigid for so long. In either case, I want you to download FitGenie. You'll get my free course and macro tracker, both designed to help you build lean muscle without becoming obsessive. But first, let's discuss the research which sheds light on this specific problem. In the 90s, West and Hoffer developed subscales of restraint in what's known as the 3-factor eating questionnaire. Specifically, they differentiated the factor of restraint into both rigid and flexible restraint. Rigid restraint was characterized by black and white dichotomous views of food or all or nothing thinking. I'm on the diet or I'm off the diet. There are good foods, there are bad foods, and I have to eat at specific times, etc. But flexible restraint was identified as a graduated approach to dieting in which foods weren't off limits, but were eaten in limited quantities and without guilt. In a large sample, they found that higher rigid restraint scores were associated with higher BMI and a higher likelihood of binge eating, while the higher the flexible restraint score, the lower the BMI and the lower the likelihood of binging. Based on this data, decades of research on intuitive eating, the behavior of bodybuilders, and how eating disorders develop and persist, I led a review paper which was published last year. In it, we highlighted how these problems can contribute to some serious red flags because it's impossible to sustain and keeps you from learning how to listen to your body. In fact, we specifically suggested using an If It Fits Your Macros flexible approach during contest prep, but to transition to using hunger and satiety in the off-season. While West and Hoffer and colleagues did their work decades ago, this problem still exists today and now can be exacerbated by food trackers. Indeed, in a survey of 105 people with an eating disorder, 3/4 of them said that they used MyFitnessPal, and 73% of them felt that it contributed to their disorder. Now, why does this happen? Well, I don't think it's because of any malicious intent on part of the macro tracker creators, but some of the things they do may unintentionally make you obsessive. For example, some trackers pester you to track every day with streaks, or they encourage you to negotiate your food intake with exercise. Or maybe they encourage you to weigh in daily and put importance on your current weight. Also, they give you macros with exactness down to the gram. And if you miss them by just a gram, they signal that you failed by going over them. So how do you avoid these serious issues? I'm going to give you 3 tools to do just that. First, it comes down to education, which leads to balance. Learning the basics of nutrition is huge. Simple knowledge like knowing how to read nutrition labels and which foods are micronutrient dense can keep you from being tethered to your macros and teaches you how to make good food decisions on your own. Research supports the importance of education, as people with higher levels of nutrition knowledge are more likely to have higher quality diets. Number 2, be mindful. Don't mindlessly consume the macros that your app or your coach gave you. Rather, pay attention to your hunger and fullness before, during, and after you eat. Seeing how your mood affects and is affected by your eating behavior can help you make better nutrition plans for your individual context. Indeed, research shows that being more mindful can improve not only diet choices, but also food quality, and can result in weight loss sometimes simply due to eating more filling foods and a better awareness of satiety. Also, pay attention to how you feel after weighing in. Some research shows that weighing in too frequently can add stress to your life, and weighing in less frequently may avoid it. Noticing how the scale affects your mood can help you pick an appropriate schedule for weighing in that gives you the appropriate data without adding undue stress. Third and finally, only track as strictly as you need to for your situation. In my book, I give a tiered good, better, and best approach, which you adopt a positive outlook for all three and can adjust your precision to your situation. You can track macros for contest prep, protein and calories if you need to go out to eat and decide to have a Diet Coke and vodka, or just estimating your calories while traveling. You can also just hit your macros based on a meal plan provided by FitGenie when you don't actually have to track down specific foods to fit your macros based on decision fatigue. It's up to you. You have all of these choices. With these tools, I hope you can achieve your goals with more consistency, less guilt, hassle, and without risking your relationship with food or your body. You can absolutely apply these tools on your own, or you can use FitGenie, which builds these principles directly into the app. Now, for those unfamiliar, I see FitGenie as what I wish MyFitnessPal could be. From the weekly macro adjustments that lets you track and weigh in flexibly, to the basics course that empowers you to make good food decisions outside of the app, it's got almost everything you need covered. It's there to help you make flexible restraint a lifestyle, and make flexible restraint and hard work go hand in hand to help you reach your goals. The good news is FitGenie was originally only available on iOS, but now it's available on Android and it's free. If you want to try it, click the link in the comments to download it. Thank you for your time and best of luck with your goals.